car coming. Not the way I would have chosen, but it's okay for now. Let me turn this down for a minute. Now would be a good time to mention something that I commented on a TikTok where the Wall Street Journal was putting out video feeds that have been recovered from Teslas that have been in accidents, and I think these were maybe older, but that kind of blew up because there's a lot of people that just don't know much about Teslas. They don't know much about full self-driving. That's why I have this channel. And they take what the Wall Street Journal was reporting, and this was just a TikTok. I didn't even see the whole report. But you get all these comments about how dangerous it is, and that people claim that Tesla's been billing full self-driving as not needing to pay attention to the road at all, or even the older autopilot, saying that Tesla was saying you don't have to drive your car anymore, and that Tesla is responsible for all of these accidents. And it's not true. Number one, Tesla is the safest vehicle. I think it just came out that the Model Y was rated the safest vehicle on the planet right now. Highest safety rating. And I think, I don't have the statistics, maybe I'll put them up in the video on the side, but the most recent statistics show that Teslas on full self-driving get into far fewer accidents, possibly 10 times fewer accidents than standard gas cars. And so I wonder why there's such a misconception out there. There was a big push to go green and everything should be electric and everyone needs to move towards electric vehicles, and Tesla was leading the pack and everyone was happy. I do think politics got involved, and a lot of people maybe don't like Elon Musk and his politics. Now they're kind of trying to dump on Tesla, but they're not really giving it a chance to say, or really to go out and experience what it can really do. Full self-driving, in my opinion, is amazing. But in the release notes, excuse me, in the release notes, I just got 12.5.1 yesterday. And in the release notes, it says, do not become complacent, that you have to have your full attention on the road at all times. And since I've been driving Teslas, which has been about, I guess, a year now, I've always seen that. I've always heard that. You have to pay attention to the road, because you're ultimately responsible as a driver. If you get pulled over by a cop, you can't blame the autopilot, the adaptive cruise control, full self-driving. You can't blame that. You're going to be held liable as the licensed driver of the vehicle. So I don't know why there's all the hate, but I hope that a channel like this can help dispel the rumors. We're driving on 12.5.1 full self-driving right now. There are no issues whatsoever. I would have picked maybe a different route to get where I'm going, but this is a fine route. And I feel very safe. I was explaining to my daughter just yesterday that having full self-driving isn't, I don't treat it at this point like a chauffeur in a limo, or a cab driver. I'm not completely disconnected. I feel like I have a co-pilot, almost like you're flying an aircraft. Full self-driving is doing the driving right now, but I am very much paying attention, ready to take over, just like a pilot and co-pilot would. So I view this vehicle as having two drivers, the software and myself. So I feel like in that sense it's safer. Being a human, I believe I drive safely. I've never had an accident. But I do feel safer with the full self-driving, with all of the cameras, constantly monitoring the blind spots or the places I have trouble seeing, or even paying attention to what's going on that side of the road over there. I'm going to look, but this is going to see every vehicle coming, the ones that are parked, when they start moving, every pedestrian. I can only look in one direction at a time. This car can look in 360 degrees at one time, and it can monitor and process what it sees at every angle. So I feel like that's actually benefit to my driving experience. So sorry for a little soapbox there, but felt the need to chime in and say that I have a lot of confidence. I feel very comfortable in this car. It's never given me any indication that it's going to do something that substantially puts me in danger. Every now and then it'll, you know, go into like a middle turn lane too soon, or it'll think a middle turn lane's like a turn lane at a light and it's not. And um, I get that a human driver might be confused by that sometimes. So I'm not saying it's foolproof by any means, but nobody driving a Tesla, no matter what version of autopilot you're using, should take your eye. You shouldn't take your eyes off the road and trust it completely. It's not there yet. I do believe one day it will get there. I do believe that will be quicker than we think, within a few years, tops. But right now, no. Pay attention. Keep yourself safe. Go home safely at night. All right, soapbox done. We'll continue the drive, and then we'll pick up the return trip as well, and I'll speed those up. All right, there's a number of cars on the road today. When we get up to this turn, this is the one I tried to show in one of my 12.3.6 videos, that it actually navigated successfully, which was a rarity. So now we've got 12.5.1, and let's see what happens right here. It should go straight through. The map should continue straight through. What happened before is the car would put on its turn signal and make like it was going left, even though the map said to go straight. Let's see what happens. I wish the car in front of me had its blinker on, because I think that might be what confuses it sometimes. Oh, interesting. Look at that light. Look at how slowly I went through that light. I'll comment on that. I probably would have stopped, just not, feeling the need to rush. But it was definitely clear to go. We were over the line on the yellow. The car in front of us just so happened to want to clear that intersection really slowly, so I ended up going in under the red. Very interesting. 12.3.6 probably would have stopped. 12.5 proceeds through, and I actually do think that would have been the more natural human reaction for an average driver. If I felt like I was in a hurry today, I probably would have done the same thing. So it is one of the bigger differences between the two. And look at that turn was kind of slow. Navigated successfully, but slow. That is one of the differences between the two. Didn't know where the parking lot was. 12.3.6 was just timid, and 12.5 definitely has some assertiveness to it. All right, we've arrived, and I'll record the trip home. That's interesting. It was a bit of a hard stop and then a sudden go on red. Honestly, felt like the car was trying to be human by going on red. I may have contributed to the hard stop, though. I had my foot on the accelerator a little bit, so I was hoping to prompt it through. So I think I made that more difficult than it needed to be. Interesting. So the car is feeling out when it should get over. I'd say that was a very human lane change, and you hear me talking about how human it is. I feel like that's the Turing test, right? That's how we judge everything. So that lane change felt very human. Of course, I would have gotten into the lane a little bit sooner because I know these roads and I know the difficulty right there. But it tried to be a little more assertive, get in farther up, realized right away that I wasn't going to be able to do that, and decided to put on the turn signal and slow down and let that last car pass and get over. Meanwhile, it was watching the car that was even behind that. So it felt like a seasoned driver. I always disagree with the lane change, with the pick of the lanes here. I need to be in that turning lane. I'm going into a store right over here. The minute we turn, I have to be turning into the parking lot. I should be in that turn lane, the one to my right. But, luckily enough, both those cars went straight. I was able to get over, but that's one little thing that kind of bothers me. Like, why doesn't it understand that I'm going to be turning right in a few hundred feet? So keep the rightmost left turn lane. That just seems to make sense. I think it's strange that it always picks that option, but most of the time it does work out. So we'll forgive it. All right, and we'll pick this up for the drive home. I had to head to the store real quick. That's the last thing I'll say on this drive is that full self-driving has come such a long way. I've only been using it for a year on and off, but I can tell you I use it everywhere. Primarily when no one's in the car, because I feel like my family, at least my wife, gets a little nervous. Maybe the kids don't. But whenever I'm driving just by myself, or maybe if I have the kids, I use full self-driving to go everywhere. I find it extremely reliable. The points at which I have to take over, I want to take over anyway, like if I'm finding a parking spot. So overall, it's just a very good product. I think it'll go very far. I was even talking to some coworkers today about whether or not kids will need to learn how to drive in another 10 years, or whether or not everything by then will be completely autonomous and self-driving. That's What do you guys think? Put some comments down in the video. Let me know. Do you think autonomous driving is the future? How far away do you think it is? Do you think it's beneficial to kids to still learn to drive in a future where things are going to be so advanced, at least in urban and suburban settings? We know for long distance that's likely to remain human driving for a long time, but what are your thoughts? Drop them below.